Hey guys, I'm Sam Schaefer, owner of Titanium Archery Products, and today I'm going to talk to you about the adjustable Gen 2 cable guard system. This is designed for bows that have smooth bore openings in the riser and that from the factory had either a simple straight cable guard rod or a bent single piece aluminum cable guard rod. This is designed though for multiple components. Ours is quite a bit different than what you see on the factory. So this is an aluminum piece. This coupler piece in the middle is titanium alloy, and then you have titanium alloy rod here and a bonded on rubber cap. It does not include the cable slide. You can of course order that with it. Many people do. The reason I have it on here though is because for assembly I like to have that already on the rod to start, and that is because this is a bonded on cap. So you cannot just slide it over the end. So you loosen the number 832 screws here, take the titanium rod out, put the slide on, put it back together. So this is my wife's Athens Ridge 34 bow, and it has the type of riser setup that we need to use this system, so it's a good demonstration model. This has the set screws on the back of the riser. In some cases you'll find they're on the front of the riser. In some cases you'll find there's only a single set screw that is in the riser, and if that is the situation you have, it needs to be a larger set screw than what is on here. These are number 1024, and that's fine for just 2 screw use, but if it's single screw use, then you need to have ideally about a 1/4 20 thread would be what you would have. This is previously used, and the reason I am illustrating with a previously used unit is so that you can see just how much scoring prior adjustment caused on this aluminum rod. And that is really important that you gain this level of scoring into the surface, because that means you were getting it tight enough for it to stay in place. And it will stay in place, and it will function very well if you tighten it down sufficiently. So I'm going to put this in and we'll talk about how to do that. So you can see the way it's designed, it goes into the riser, slides in there. It ran out of material because this riser actually is about the deepest you would find in terms of how far in you need to go. This part actually extends just past where that last screw is. On many risers, in many cases, you'll find that you don't need to go that far. You might find that you're out here because of the location of the set screws being farther to the front or to the back, depending on your orientation and how you're looking at it. But in any case, it's not always necessary that this be inserted that far. So how I set these up, I think, is a good place to start, is about what you would say maybe like 12:05, if you're thinking of a clock face. That's about where I would have it situated to start. And again, we have the cable slide already on there, and you can see I don't have the rollers attached to these cables yet. We're not going to sit the cables into the rollers because we don't want tension on the system yet. It's important that you gain a level of tightness that bites into that aluminum portion so that over time you don't get rotation back, because that's what these cables are going to be doing. They are going to pull back, and we don't want this to move at all. What you get from an adjustable system like this is the ability to tune using tension on cables. So as you rotate out, you're adding tension. You rotate back in towards the shooter, you're reducing tension. Each of those movements has effect on your arrow and how the bow shoots and tunes. So it's a great additional tool to have. In some cases, you can avoid moving the shims by having this. You can avoid having to move the arrow rest by tuning through the cable guard. So it's a really useful tool to put into a bow. Now let's talk about tightening. So what I start with is just a simple T-handle, but that's not what you're going to finish with. So let's just start by tightening these screws in until we feel contact with the aluminum rod, which we do have. Okay, we got contact. Now, I have a torque wrench. I know what torque spec we really basically need to be going for here, but this does not actually even go that low. Really, you want to hit about 15 pounds or so, or inch pounds rather, not foot pounds. 15 inch pounds is about what you want to hit, maybe up to as much as 17 or 18. But typically what I find, if you get up to 20, you'll start to find in many cases where the Allen key bit that you use might want to round out or might want to start to rotate inside of these set screws. Now this is the spec I recommend for a 1024 set screw. That's what these are. If it's a larger screw like a 1/4 20, you can go considerably higher than that. But these are small screws. So that is not the case. The other thing that could happen if you go too high is you might rotate the screw to the point where if it's not rounding out inside, there's potential for the threads inside the riser to disengage and break free. And then you would actually have to drill and tap for a larger screw. So we're going to, instead of using this torque wrench, instead of using that, I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch drive socket wrench, which can apply much more than 15 inch-pounds. But having experience and knowing what to feel for and not wanting and not letting the inside of the screw round out, that all contributes to knowing when to stop. So we'll tighten down here with this. And again, it has a 332 Allen key bit on it. So we start to get a lot of resistance here. And I'm tightening to the point where it's not going to round. I can feel this not going to round, and I stop based on, again, a lot of experience. But I'm also going beyond the level of tightness that I would be able to achieve with this, or the level of tightness that I'd be able to achieve with an Allen key set. So you're not gonna get tight enough, and you are going to find that this thing will want to rotate on you. So that one's tightened in. And the head, the inside of the head is still intact, still clean. And doing the same thing here. If I had a torque wrench that went down as low as 15 inch-pounds, I'm pretty sure that's where I would be at, because I've done work with this in the past and had it at the 20 inch-pound setting, and I was finding that it was wanting to round the inside of the heads out. It was just a little too much torque for those screws. So we don't want that. We don't want to round the heads out. So try to shoot for 15 inch-pounds. Use tools that get sufficient torque, but don't use tools that give you insufficient amount, or you're going to find frustrations. So now let's rotate back around, and we'll put this cable slide, or put these cables into the rollers. So that's really all it's done there, is you just push them into those rollers. Just a quick note about the rollers and the position of the rollers. On this Athens bow, what I call the downward travel cable, and that is a cable that does travel down during a draw cycle, and that's why the arrow rest cable is attached to it, because it pulls the arrow rest up, right? That cable in some cases is behind the other cable. That's to the back or the far side, as it is on this Athens. Other cases on PSE, you'll find that cable is actually in the front. That will dictate how the rollers have to be positioned. So on a PSE bow, like I shoot, this roller here will be farther to the front, farther or closer to me as the shooter. And that roller will be farther back, away from me. On an Athens bow, it's the opposite. You actually have this roller farther back and then that one farther out, away or closer to me as the shooter. So you can just flip the cable slide over to accomplish that, or you can actually remove these rollers and switch their position within the frame. So that's just a note about the cable slides themselves. Make sure you get them set up so that you're getting cable clearance in terms of these cables not contacting each other. Cannot have these be contacting each other during any portion or even at the bow being at rest. If they are, it's not set up correctly. So again, I started about what would be considered maybe even, I might even be as far over as what you would call 1210, 1205, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely not right at 12 o'clock. And that's where I would start. Typically you get good vein clearance there, you get good tuning. Now you're going to find that you need to make adjustments. Go through the same process each time, though, when you retighten, so that you get that proper scoring down into that aluminum piece. So that pretty much sums it up. That's really all there is. It's proper tightening. It's making sure you get those screws biting down into that aluminum, and don't hesitate to let that happen because you want that. Taparchery.com is the website for all the products. I appreciate your support. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. We're available 717-814-9169, or you can reach out through Instagram, through Facebook, or through our chat on the website as well. That's 24/7. Those are available. Take care. Thanks again.